Yeah, hey there. So this is a Youngstars Lemon Lime pack, but I feel like there's a bunch of, well, not as much as usual, but a bunch of caveats on this stuff I want to get off before doing this, which does kind of suck because these are based off of timers. So however long I talk for anything, which will hopefully just be a number of minutes, um, takes that many, you know, um, it'll take that much longer until I'll be able to do this again, 24 hours from, I say now, but really is from whenever I actually open the pack. Um, I'm not suggesting that there should, always be a way to be able to, buy packs, whether it's coins, points, both, whatever, from store, and then, you know, choose to open them later and just have them stored or whatever. I personally would kind of like that, but it's whatever. I also suggested, as many others have, going back to last year that I know of a change here on this specific pack to indicate when the cooldown has happened. I actually don't know, and that's part of it for me too. Is even if I did this right this second, I don't know 100% that it would work. But on my channel, it's indicating that part four was quote 1 day ago. So it usually only does that for me once it's been 24 hours, because literally when it's in the final hour it says 23 hours and doesn't get more specific than that just at a quick glance of it. So I should definitely be able to open this. However, a couple things you'll notice: coins up on top, uh, pretty high for me, especially having come back uh, from the issues that I had. Um, to point out here, I mean, it's really only there because of the Petrangelo and the Chiesa. Geez, I tried to drink as much water as I could before starting this, and it's just never enough, really. Those other ones that are sold also, but I mean, like, this is at base price. I've been buying um, just gold players for slightly less than this. So I mean, this would have effectively been a loss if it hadn't come from a pack, and in fact, it came from packs that I broadcast earlier. Um, that it was definitely a loss as far as not getting your coins back for what was put into that pack. But point is, most of that you can see here. What's that exactly? Just over 300,000 of the now 450 just came from these two cards, both of which I think are amazing, and I kind of want them back on my team, to be honest. And this just happened within the last few hours. But I don't know. I put them up. I was getting kind of frustrated that they continued to go down and down and down, and just kind of went with it. And I'd had them up for close to that amount, and they weren't going. This one specifically, I'd put, if I recall correctly, I'd had multiple times today. I had a start price of 149.99, but a higher buy now price, and all day people chose to pass on it, particularly during the prime time at the reset. Despite, in my opinion, not a tremendous amount of new content out today. I understand, as I'm starting to talk through some of this stuff, that one of the worst things that I can do is get on the mic and start talking. I get it, but I kind of feel like it's necessary here. So just pointing out that ended up selling sort of the same thing here. I definitely also didn't really want to go below 177, but I ended up doing it, and it eventually sold. And normally I should feel kind of good about those sort of things, but not really, since these I did not pack either of these. These were both purchases, and so they're both losses. And in the case of Petrangelo, I think it's a pretty significant loss. I think I paid close. I don't have it here, unfortunately, which sucks. But I believe maybe if I got lucky, I might have saved a screenshot. But I'm pretty sure I paid, you know, much closer to 200 than this, which is closer to 100. So I mean, it may have been as low as like 180. Um, so it's more like a, let's just call it that, and say it's a 40K loss on 180K invested. And if I was doing that in the finance world, I'd be out of a job either that day or maybe if I got lucky to last a week. Um, and other things I could talk about, the utility of a thing, and you get obviously quite a bit more of that here than you would if you're just buying, say, stock in a publicly traded company or whatever. But and I would have gotten some utility out of using the card in between when I bought it and when I sold it, but clearly not quite as much as some others that I either have or would have had. And this one here is in that boat, and I'm not one of those that's going to be out. First off, I don't know anybody that plays this game, but I'm not going to be one of those that's going to go out there and try to contact somebody to to send me an offer so that they can pull this down and then give it back to me or whatever. Hey, there's somebody in the room. I was just pointing out that I don't know if you were here for it. I was just showing how the only reason why my coins are as high as they are is because I had two sales in the last I don't know 4 hours or whatever. 3 people in the room. All right, so I'll say it again. Coins are high for me, especially having had to start back at exactly 0. But it's these two. They account for close to 300 of that 450K that had recently just happened. I think they're both amazing cards. I kind of wish that I would be able to have them back, and I absolutely did not want to sell them for that low. Just kind of got caught in the trap of all day, at least for the last 24 hours, people not willing to pay up for them and kept bringing it down. And if I had packed them, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but I did not. Both of these were purchased. I forget that she has a price off the top of my head, but at a minimum, I think I paid at least like 180 for it. So this is basically a 40K loss on 180K invested, which, as I was kind of joking around, if I'd done that in the finance world, I'd be either out of a job immediately or within about or within. Oh hey, jeez, dude. Yeah, I'll show you my team. Like, it's not what this is. I got to open this pack as soon as I can because it's got a cooldown, and I'm going to be limited to the number of times I can do it in 2 weeks, anyways. And I don't feel like having to, wait until 3-4 o'clock in the morning in future days from not having done it. Just pointing out that this is also up there. I also think this is an extremely low price, way less than what I paid. I had to have paid at least, closer to 500 for it. But as I was saying, I don't know anybody that plays the game. I'm not asking anybody. I don't, Rigby's in the room. Well, supposedly he is, and now it's saying there's only one person in the room. And I'm in the room, so I don't know, but that counter seems like it always gets screwy. But pardon me. Like I mean, I don't know who Rigby is, and I'm not gonna be like, hey man, like send me an offer, and they'll accept, so you can take the card and then just put it back up, and I'll put up an offer and give you the card back. Like I know people do that with or without help. I think it's worse if you do it just by yourself, but either way, it both break the TOS. So I don't look to do that sort of stuff. So for the next almost 9 hours, I'm at the mercy of anybody that might be looking to get this, and I think this is a crazy low price for this and represents a huge loss for me. Part of the other reason why I'm just pointing this out, however, is because when I was saying about the Petrangelo having some utility in the sense that I had purchased it, but I'd also used it in between when I purchased it and when I sold it. But that amount of time was much small, much smaller, and got much less use, much fewer games than the downlane. The downlane is part of the first event, and I don't know if I had it as soon as that event or even as that event ended, but right around there. So this basically goes back to September, and I didn't get a full 2 months out of it, but pretty close to that. And there were very few other choices, in my opinion, that were kind of up there and as good. So he definitely was on the team on any of those 3 lines for me over on the right side for most of the time that I had that. And if I were able to sell it for at least what I got it for or around there, I'd feel a little bit better for it. At this price, I don't feel good about it at all. And I'm not sure I necessarily need those coins at the moment, even though I'm about to waste 50,000 on a lemon lime pack for the stream or whatever. But Just showing that those two are already gone. The next one could come. It could come right now as I'm doing this. But despite having a little bit more utility out of the Dowling, it's not necessarily what I'd be looking for. On top of that, this pack, specifically the lemon lime pack, I'm going to open first real quick. It's only 2 cards. The untradeable silver reroll. Before that, just on the off chance that I happen to get something from that would be part of the, pick 2 out of 3 in each round of five rounds in the lemon lime pack. Even though, honestly, even if it was those from the lemon lime pack, they're tradable. Rerolls obviously aren't. So it would be unlikely that I'm going to get something from the reroll that I'd have a choice to get from the lemon lime pack, and that I would want to take from the lemon lime pack, but that I wouldn't just because I just picked up the untradeable. It just seems unlikely, but I just, that's the way I am. I guess it's OCD or whatever. However, these 6 cards are an addition to, as of today, they weren't there before. And at least a couple of them I think are worth potentially getting over at least a random card that you put into a reroll or whatever, but still not they're not barn burners in my opinion. These are the prime times, and also the main reason why I'm definitely less excited to do kind of anything as far as pack openings today are concerned, including this lemon lime pack. And that might seem very strange to be seeming like you're talking down 2 different 89s. The Draisaitl and the Barzal. They're not bad by any means. And even going down to Backstrom, I don't know, the Cassian. The rest, aren't really necessarily ones that I'd be looking for as far as being able to add to my team. I showed earlier that I sold do you say his name? Is it? I haven't heard it pronounced. I've only seen it written. Is it Chittle? Philip on the Rangers. Looked like another great game today. But as you saw, I put it up for $950, no buy now, and it went for 1,150. And I've been buying just random gold cards, even all the way down to 74 overalls for pretty close to that, just shy of 1K if I could, in the process of doing these MSPs and other sets. So for me, it's better than, I guess, getting something that I can't even sell for 1K, but it's 150 coins, maybe 200 coins difference. I think I had another one, and I think I just put it into a set because I just didn't even care at that point. Point being, I'll take any of those if they come, because I feel like I'm not getting prime times very much lately, despite getting 2 of the Cheetos today. But to me, it's way less exciting than what we had for the entire weekend, which I felt like was cool cards, but it just happened to work out over a 3-day weekend that we had, Ovi and Kane and who was the other? Who was there? 90? Was it Marchand? There were a couple others too. Basically there were at least 4 or 5 like really kind of top end cards that were part of the prime times up until today. And again, I'm not saying that Dry or Matty Bars is no good, or the rest are no good, but so it's just, for me at least, a little bit less exciting. However, last thing I'll say on that, as far as potential polls that you could get that changed as of today, having finally had a chance to go through the full hour of hashtag Headstrong through NBC Sports, the version that was shown here in Chicago. I think it was a national thing or whatever over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to see it until it's rebroadcast today for whatever reason. But even though he's only in there for about 3 seconds, despite being in the promos for it, and also because I'm here in Chicago, I kind of feel like it'd be a little bit kismet, considering there's only going to be 12 cards that I'm going to get out of these 2 packs. To be able to pull the primetime Robin Lehner, despite almost probably no chance of ever playing with it outside of just trying it out, would be kind of cool actually. So I'd almost rather take that than certainly Cassian and Reinhardt on down on this list, and admittedly most of these as well. Those are the 2 that are new for the today. You can still get technically the MSPs, but unlikely. And then these are the rest of the young stars that were already there. Some of those go for more value than others, and these are tradable, so that is part of the consideration for me. And then for another day, we still have these team of the weeks. The kind of only thing that I feel like is the last thing to say on these, and there's obviously, as always, more team of the week cards than just these, including all of those fantastic 74s that you just put into sets. But since the quote-unquote best card as far as overall rated is the 89 EP40, now that I have an MSP 91 overall, it seems pretty unlikely that I would hang on to the 89. I don't recall looking specifically too much at the Besser or even the rattle off for others all that much, to be honest. I would just kind of assume that for me, these were things that were almost kind of just toss-ins as far as adding to my thoughts as far as what was out there from over the weekend with the prime times. That there were some pretty decent ones in here as well. And this week's team of the week looks like it's gonna be crazy good. So November 13th, 2 p.m. Pacific time. This should transition over to those being great, and if you have those along with some potentially really solid prime times, despite clearly a lot of the good ones for prime times already out, and you only get one per month, they can do repeats so that they'd be out again in the exact same form that they were before with the same synergies and all that stuff. Yada yada yada. You get the point. Team of the weeks are going to be great. These are just the cards that you could possibly pull, and they're just talking about the comp seasons. So let's get in first with that reroll. Just for whatever. You sold your fantasy. Oh, geez, man. How did you buy that thing? Did you pack that in a tradable pack? If so, that is insane. Plus, there was, I guess you should. That means you should have only had a week to be able to have done that. In fact, you said you sold it, so it wasn't untradeable. So it's not like you re-rolled it in that 1 week either. But that's crazy. I have mine, but it's untradeable. I honestly don't know if I'd even give it up for 1.3 million. Good luck ever getting the new Young Guns card. Pretty much none in existence. The 6 ones you talking about, Rigby? I've only been doing re-rolls, and I did about. I was trying to do 10 because of the pack odds. But I think I only did like about 6 of the premium players packs and then kind of gave up on it. I have enough coins now where I guess I could waste even more of those, but it depends on how salty I'm going to be with this lemon lime pack. So, obviously not a great start to the reroll, but that's pretty common, and you absolutely can do worse. So let's get into this as fast as possible. Odds don't matter. I show them anyways, but it's really just, it's only kind of indicating, outside of the guarantees that they list in other ways, that you have a 32% chance in the pack of getting 85 plus, which, for me at least, I guess I actually do kind of like this a little bit better, where it's going to say 85 plus is whatever the percentage. In this case, it's 32%. In my experience so far, I don't think that it's even been, we've done 4, and I know that they're not cumulative, and if you go to the bottom there, I'll read it to you in case you can't see it. I was on it earlier today, and even when they point out that there's, it doesn't matter. It's http x.ea.com/58988. I might go so far as to put it into the description if I come back to the channel, even though it's it's late and I got to be up early for important IRL stuff tomorrow, despite not being tired because I just ate midnight snack dinner. So anyways, you can go to that page for more details. It does not give you pack probabilities for any of the packs on that page, just as a spoiler alert. It just kind of tells you kind of how pack odds work, what to expect from them, and that they're ever changing. And so the probabilities for this one were verified and accurate as of 22:04. Gotta imagine that's prime time, November 8th, 2019. Have not changed since then. Comparatively, the Jumbo Premium Pack, those odds were set on the 22nd, and the Premium Pack has been adjusted, actually, since November 4th. So these packs have been out since day 1. and you can check for yourself to see how much you do or do not think that those odds have changed since September 10th up to November 4th and presently today. But anyways, let's get into this pack. Let's get these 10 cards. Let's waste our 50,000 coins, because that's really what this whole quick little live stream is about. But it's also why I'm on the mic, to explain what the H is going on, because everything looks really screwy on my side right now, and I get that. No, it's at least letting me open it. That's a good start, I guess. Oh my god, dude, you've got to be kidding me. You've absolutely got to be kidding me. So is this how this works? Is this what you do? Is this reverse psychology? Wow, this is a good card. That's crazy. I gotta like I mean, yeah, wow. I think I gotta wake up Trev, get him in the room. He gets super salty when I pull stuff, whether they're tradable or not. I don't know why, but I feel like there'd be salt being tossed here right now. On the off chance that I end up selling it, maybe I shouldn't say anything that would be not the greatest about it. But I don't, and again, like, I've been aware of where certain cards were going to go throughout the year. And stuff like that, and I had Besser on my list for ones to look out for, particularly being a right-handed shot and being one of the better ones, and one of the better ones that had pretty decent underlying stats and a good starting point. And that is certainly key. I mean, if you the select few that managed to get September inform, put them literally a leg ahead of everybody else. They got a +2 that month when no one else did. And that meant that they were potentially one upgrade ahead of everyone else in a thing that might not really matter past a certain point, either for whatever that is for you. Some people, it's honestly the holidays. Although I love playing with the noobs that come in with their holiday gifts. And then others, it's more towards the All-Star, and then others, it's kind of end season, and then either the end of regular season, end of playoffs, whatever. I try to go the full year, but I have to take breaks because I can't do it all constantly. So point being, like, he was on my list, so I'm not super surprised. And there are certain things that for me were why I wasn't thinking like that it was going to be the greatest card in the world in November. But admittedly, when I was doing that thought process, if you want to call it analysis, that might be a little bit generous to call it that, was having no idea kind of what was going to be released, between the start of the year and November. At that start of the year, granted they were icons, but we had 2 different 91s, 5 different 90s, 7? I forget off the top of my head. I have the picture, but I just don't feel like looking at it because it would take me out of the chat room right now. But like 7 different 89s, and then close to that, maybe even 8 different 88s. I understand they're all icons, but those were literally day one cards. So I don't think that, especially having come just off of NHL 19 and not being totally aware, because I don't have any connection to it, of how drastically different this year's content director intended to take the content for the game and the releases and when they'd come out and the events and stuff like that compared to last year. So long story long, I knew what Besser's card was going to look like in November if he had been able to get each of those upgrades, which he has. But admittedly, I did kind of think that there'd be other events and special cards and possibly even icon upgrades that might have happened by now or before the end of this month, and that hasn't really been the case. This is the first event that has MSPs above 90 at 91. The rest of them have been 90, and so at least for me, that puts these. I consider this a high-end 88, and honestly, and so it puts cards like this, for me at least, at a higher current value than I had anticipated back in September. So I think that's part of the reason why, when looking at this just now, I was like, oh, that's right. Like I remember specifics of this that made me think, that I would like to be a little bit higher, might look for a December, possibly even January out of him. But obviously at that point, that gives You know, if you do a different event every 2 weeks, and you're talking about, you know, at least two a month, going you know, 2 months out from now, that's it's another 4 or 5 events that are going to drop with, yeah, you know, at least, you know, 1 if not 5 or more MSPs, which at this point all might be 91s. You get the point though. So again, not knowing whether my intention is to hang on to this or sell it, that would probably come down to how much it's going for, and just whether I value it, you know, higher than what the market is, which I would say is true for almost all cars that are out there right now. The only real knock that I'd have on this currently is the endurance at 91, and particularly for my team, there aren't a ton of cards that have low endurance that I'm kind of willing to toss out there. But with shot basically at 90 without any boosts, and all of the skate stats and the speed at 94, you know, and at least on the offensive side, the awareness at 89 just being under 90. On the defensive side, for a winger who's considered a sniper, 84 is not the worst for defensive awareness either. You know, I think that there's some pretty solid stuff with this, and even though it's not exactly a synergy that I've gone out of my way to activate yet, with more high-end cards like this that have it, I think the more that I would be looking to pop this on, because I don't remember if it's plus. I don't even remember what the plus is. It could be +2, +3, +4. It's one of those for sure. So just go with the average and say it's +3. As far as I recall, it impacts passing, slap shot, and wrist shot accuracies. So if you go +3, that's going to bump passing to 90, and it's going to bump both of his shot accuracies up to 93. And that's just really high end for a right-handed forward. You know, at 6'1", I feel like he does have the height. At 191, you might think that he doesn't necessarily have the size. You can start to see that a little bit with the 91 balance, and then on the other side of the puck with the 84 strength. But again, I mean, I think it's a great card, and obviously I'm going to jinx myself here, but there's no way that this one card currently goes for less than 50K. That's not possible. So I made one, but you know, it's the 5th one that I've done. That's 250K, and I'm not sure I've actually made 250K back if I bother to have sold what I've gotten here so far. Yeah, so we're going with a dub there from OG Sour Dude. Somebody wake Trev's butt up so you can see this. So you can complain about how annoyed he is that I just managed to rip this and have 4 more rounds. And that Schwartz is an 81, so there's at least one more 82 plus yet to come out of the remaining 4 rounds, including 1 round of silvers. I gotta be honest, especially after 2 81s, I was like, all right, just give me another 81. You know, 80's fine too, but don't make it exactly 82 on one that would force me to choose an 82 and 81. If I'm remembering this correctly, usually round 3 is the round of silvers. So just I will jinx myself in the bad way on this one. That I think the last 2, and again I've streamed every one of them. So the last I'm just not using the mic for it, so they go really quick. The last 2, so part 4, part 3, both of the silver rounds included 1 gold card. It could have been 74, but it was at least a gold, and therefore it's, you know, 1/50th for me towards an untradeable collectible, either gold or icon, and that's helpful. So here we go with I believe this is the silver round. Maybe not. Yes. See, all right, so it's not the worst. And do I care at all between these two? What's he got going on? That's fun. I'll go with that. It's cool. Not that it matters. They're eventually going into silver rerolls. All right, 2 more rounds. Oh, Dylan was, yeah, he was not an 82. Okay, so we still have at least 1 more 82 guaranteed to get in these. There's, besides the one that we're seeing here, there's going to be 2 more cards, choosing 2 out of 3 in this round, and then 3 more cards, choosing 2 of those in the final round. At least one of those remaining 5 cards has to be 82 plus. Okay, not here yet either. So it's coming down to this final round. What are the chances of 2 just absolutely amazing cards in the same pack? Yeah, I mean, I get that. That's my bad. It's like I saw the Gets left after the Frolik, and I was like, all right. Well, I mean, he's gonna give me another one that's where I don't have to choose Frolik as the second round. So overall, clearly I feel like earned the 50K back on this one. I don't really even have to put it up on Twitter of asking people, which is what I've usually done. I just don't bother to jump on the mic on these things, and I just tweet it out with the question of, do you think that this is worth 50K? With the dots, if this was something that you had just done like a quick open on, it wasn't a choice or whatever. I mean, it would throw it a little bit off seeing the clearly best card team of the week, Besser, right off the front. But I feel like in any pack that opens up 10 cards, if you were to see 6 out of the 10 dots being dotted like that with the white, it's pretty encouraging to know that you're going to get 6 cards that are 81 plus. And then let's see. Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. If I had made different choices, then there would have been at least 1 or 2 that I could have taken as exactly 80. And then there are 3 that are 81. So those are technically the kind of the lowest end of icebreakers. What are you guys feeling like though? You guys still here? We're one of the 2 of you guys is still here. Did not get one of the new Young Gun cards as Rigby had predicted. But I definitely I'm feeling pretty happy about it. I feel like we can go over to the market and check that out. Maybe it's a sign or something. Maybe I should do more of these jumbo premium packs, or I don't know. Maybe even go back into to the fruit punch ones. I was planning on just kind of ending it from there. This is so sad to me, and it didn't even sell. I think the one, I don't remember. I think the one I sold actually went for even less than that. But Barrett Hayden, pardon me for coughing into the mic, but Barrett Hayden definitely deserves better than that, in my opinion. Wow, Kanoye is going for super cheap. I've been in the when looking at the gold players, I've been doing it from, and it's another, I guess, just a little recommendation that I would make to EA. I could go show that, I guess. I could maybe understand why they wouldn't want to do it. But I've been mostly looking at the gold players from within the confines of the sets for this week, this 2-week event. And when you do that, what I literally just did. Luckily, there's still one more there. With the Kanoye, it's 4 seconds. I'm going to do it right now. Go down to compare price. For those of you who don't know, that's something you can't do if you're not, like, literally in exactly the auction house. The other ways that you can kind of get access to what's available in the auction house, up to and including making purchases, you can't use the compare price tool from there. You have to be in the actual auction house and having clicked on browse before you can do that. I'm not really sure why. I could come up with some explanations that I would have as to why that would be. This seems crazy. Also seems you the instant that you give this guy a +7, I mean, I don't even care if it requires like 10 icon collectibles to boost him up. Hold on, I gotta cough again. I mean, yeah, you talk about +7 on this, like all the rest of them. All of a sudden, your speed pretty much maxed out. Endurance becomes way more manageable, and shots are near the top of the food chain on that, and kind of anything else that you'd really look for. Handles all being up into 94 from 87. Just all this kind of crazy stuff. At least for me, I feel like, especially if these prices continue to come down, it looks like these guys are not able to sell these at these prices right now. I mean, one's got this up, this just no, okay. The first one went away. I was like, what, did somebody buy that as I was showing that? It's part of the reason why I don't stream anymore the ones that I'm going after. It just doesn't. I don't know. Without trying to get too paranoid, it doesn't seem like it works out that well for me. Although, apparently I'm the only one in the room right now, so that's fun. Love talking to myself. Kanoye, though, I don't know, man. For me, I get he's an 86, and technically, it only requires 2 icon collectibles to do that, and there's plenty of ways to get those as untradeable and just going through your milestones and stuff like that. And I would definitely be on board with the idea that even though it does only require 2, you, if you can, are almost across the board much better off saving up your 9 for the 90, and that's assuming that you already have both the Gretzky and the Lemieux. I guess there's a very slight chance that those two 91s do not get an upgrade, or way worse would be that they do get an upgrade and you don't upgrade the Silver Masters for those 2 players. But it seems like that's going to happen, and they're already arguably, they were the 2 best cards in the game, and now they're still up there for sure. I think that's hard to argue. This particular seller, Maximum Power, has had this exact offer up now for a minimum of the last 58 minutes if they put it up for 6 hours, and nobody biting. There were other ones that were here that are now gone. We're kind of close to that, also a little bit higher. This one's 145. The other ones were closer to 149. So especially if they're like I was on just getting trigger happy on some of those cards that I ended up selling, they may continue to bring this down that much further. And as I was saying, 2 icon collectibles, you can buy 2 probably even right this minute when prices are a little bit weird at times this time of the night. I'd imagine that there were 60 plus on the market earlier today when I took a quick look at it, and saw plenty that were at 50K. I mean, I guess I could go over to it here in a second, even though the whole point of this was just to see what the price of the Besser was. Yeah, I hate doing it from this one, but whatever. Okay, they at least separate it out that way, so it's fine. So there's 79 of them up. 51.8 you could do as a buy now. Oops, pardon me. So even though I'd imagine out of those the other 77 that we haven't seen so far, there's going to be a few. 22 to be exact. Here we go. 50K. That's what I was trying to point out, is that you could probably buy 2 right now with a buy now at 50K. There's ones that are less. Not much less, basically within a grand of that. But yeah, so it's 100K basically if you want to buy these. I have tradable ones. I'm not really looking to put them into sets, but admittedly, as I said, I've already got both of the 91 untradables and all 5 of the 90 tradables, as well as the 89 Coffee and LaFleur and the 86 Gartner, as well as the Canoyer that I already showed. But I was trying to get the Gartner. I felt like Canoyer was a pretty good choice when the Gartner wasn't one of them in that particular time that I had done that set. So I don't see much of a reason for me to use my tradables in other sets right now, but I've been insane as far as doing all those. But I can understand others who may not even have as much of an interest in as many of the collectibles as many of the icons, I should say, as I did. Also potentially having some tradables. They might even be some of the folks that are trying to sell these for more than 50K right now, and not kind of wanting to look to give those up. I'll probably jinx myself on this one too, but the amount that I have, which is less than 10, might not be enough to do whatever the first thing is that comes out with those Gold Masters. And I mean, we're almost all gonna have at least one 96 Master choice from just having logged in every day once. Whatever that is like March, maybe the latest April, but I think it's March. We'll all have that from the milestones. So even though I've kind of said it before, where I think that it'd be a bit absurd for them to push it, certainly as far as August, but honestly even July and kind of end of regular season into free agency. End of the playoffs into free agency. I think that all of us having an untradeable 96, I could understand a little bit of a rationale for wanting that to be special enough where there aren't a ton of cards out there that just demolish that card, especially with the realization that there's going to be plenty of people who are going to be that don't have this game now and will be getting it, um, maybe as early as a month from now, and then a month after that when the most of the holidays end up kind of wrapping up. Um, so those folks, as far as that milestone and just getting it every day, unless they make some sort of change, just for like a special edition version of the game that comes out, which I can't see them doing. Um, they're going to be at a disadvantage on that. They will also get it eventually. I'd have to look at it exactly, but let's see. So yeah, if they, as long as they log in every day, they'd be able to get it before the game, stops giving out daily reward um, stuff in September. Although all it is just opening up daily rewards. So even though it come next September in this game in NHL 20, as opposed to what I presume will be next year's game, um, they in fact would still be able to every day, every 23 hours and 50 minutes, be able to log in and get a daily reward pack. It just will not include a September collectible next September. So whatever it is that they wanted to do with September, October, and likely at least November, if not also most of December collectibles, they can't do because they didn't get the game until the end of the year into the new year. But the whole point of being able to open whatever it is, I forget the exact number, it's at least 400, I think, daily reward packs. There's wait, no, it's not 400. Why am I being an idiot? Yeah, okay. I was like, 250 sounds more legit, and it is. But yeah, still 250 days. If they got it on January 1st, 250. Yeah, that would actually be kind of tough. So some people might actually have to push it into, um, at least into September. But it's just open daily reward packs. It's got nothing to do with getting monthly collectibles out of those reward packs. So technically speaking, somebody could buy this game, a year and a half from now, and it'll still continue to give them daily reward packs whenever they log in, and they would still get that same, as you see up on the top there, 96 overall Master Icon Choice untradeable pack that presumably it says choice. There should be at least two different choices in it. So they'd be able to get that. All right, so says there's somebody else in the room. You got anything that you would like to see? Otherwise, my main thing is I'm just going to kind of go back to the market and see what that Besser is currently fetching, despite the odd hour. And I might be able to get convinced to do. Oops, that was stupid. I might be able to get convinced to do some other packs, since I have a couple coins at the moment. 670 these boys, huh? All right. Let's go off overalls then. So the other choice, wow, it's really that cheap? That is, there's clearly something that I'm not seeing here. Okay, what? Could be part of it. Yeah, that doesn't help. I mean, he's left-handed though, so it's a little bit different. But that's insane and also quite disappointing. I mean, 44 minutes on that one. If I undercut everyone on here, I basically have to go pretty close to 120K on this, which I think makes it that I'd almost have a loss over the course of the last 5 days. So again, just looking at this here real quick. Yeah, and all four of my right-handed shots are untradeable. So that has an impact for me at least. And one of them is Lemieux. So yeah, and he's he's capable, I guess, of taking faceoffs, but that's it's a bit of a stretch. I'm not talking about Besser, who's at 71, but that would also be quite a stretch at that as well. So I don't know. I might go ahead and try to play it with a couple games and then just check it out because I'm not super stoked about just immediately selling this for 120K. And I understand there were 11 other cards in there, even though if I recall correctly, every single one of them was just trade in. Um, so I mean, at best, it would have been 11K out of those, 11K worth. But there was at least one silver, if not two, from those 11. So that one would not be worth 1,000. Um, so let's just forget about the silver. Let's just completely discount that for a second. And so there were just I'd say there was the equivalent of 10,000 coins from the other. Sorry, there are only 10 cards in there. So there was an equivalent of 8,000 coins from the other cards in this set. And I do this for 120K. I lose 6 of that on the tax, so it's 114 net there, plus 8 back for the other 8. So it just gets me just above 120, 121. Not bad, ROI on a 50K investment. But again, for sure with those numbers, I know without having to kind of do the math and going back at the previous 4 broadcasts, that is absolutely a loss from having done those sets. So this it seems strange for me. Hold on, 6.7. Yeah, and again, because this is 83 plus and then 86 plus, you got no idea what 84 plus or 85 plus is. I'm not requiring them to like delineate all that out. And admittedly, everything at least under 84 of the 83s are just trade-ins right now. Um, so I don't really need them to call out between that 62 and 11% how much lower you go from 62 down to 11 for 81 plus and 82 plus. But it would be nifty to be able to see 84 plus and 85 plus, and if they want to take that 1.5 and get even more specific on that on 87 plus, 88 plus, etc. Be my guest. Just as long as it doesn't say less than 1% and no specificity on, um, how much under 1 and how much above 0. Hopefully, that is. And so the weird thing here is for me, even if I was to only open up one of these, and then especially if I were to, as again that site, http x.ea.com/58988, for them to explain to you in their words about how things are not cumulative and they're completely independent, and opening a second or more packs has no bearing on what you got in the previous one. With all that in mind, there is kind of a part of me that looks at the chances of the icons and gold collectibles at 1.5 in this one, which technically is only 75% of the cost of this one. It's did I say it was 1.5? I think that's what it was, right? Yeah, okay. So you get an extra 0.2% on the collectibles here, but as you see, it does not list out the master icons, and I've never had one in those or any of when these were previously 18,750 coins and 375 point packs. Open up a ton. Never had a master icon. Admittedly, pulled very, 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 very few tradable master icons in any packs, and I've not seen anybody, any one individual pull and open more packs than I have. Even though I've scaled back on it a ton, as a lot of others have. I guess if they had kept their pace and I had scaled back, they would have passed me for sure, but they didn't and I didn't, and so I still haven't seen it. I've seen others that are close, but not like this. Um, So you could say that's just not necessarily the best luck for me. Um, but also part of it could be at times ripping a bunch of packs like these that don't even bother to say, whether master icons are available. This one, uh, first off, I can't do, as I said, or in previous streams because I already did it for this week. It depends for me on what the week 2 releases will be. If I kind of want to go with what's effectively almost 100K on that for what is really just a guaranteed gold collectible. But it does say master item at less than 1%. And as I said before, it definitely feels like they're more so indicating that could potentially be an MSP as the guaranteed, if you look up on the top there, guaranteed Young Stars player item. But maybe not, because they're only listing the gold collectible, so it could be, an icons collectible, or any other type of, quote unquote master item. It does not even have to be potentially a master icon player, which is literally what that says. And I understand it says less than 1%. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it a bit more. So if there's anybody in the room, you got anything to say, speak now or forever hold your peace. I think I'm going to rip at least one more of these. Try to get closer to the 10 total that I wanted to have as a better sample size, which I know is a terrible sample size, but there is one set of odds in here that I have not hit yet that are listed at 11%. And again, I know they're not cumulative. I know they're independent, but you'd still like things to to run out closer to their expected value, whether you're opening up kind of the minimum, which in this case is 10, or multiples of that, 100,000, 10,000, or ad infinitum from there. I felt it coming as I was talking. I mean, as I was not talking and going through here. So there's a few goals. There's a few trade-ins. So that's better than nothing. But there's these 270. There are 278s right now. So yeah, there's one. So a couple 78s, a couple 77s. At this point, that means nothing. They're all exact. Oh, that's actually 71 and the 77. So sorry, two 278s, 177, 175, a 72. 275, I guess. So anyways, all those that I just listed, even though I messed up most of what I was saying there, all exactly the same. They're all just trade-ins. And you see there's no dots. I think that I forget exactly now if the dots even show up on the 80 overall. I know it's clearly for the icebreakers of 81 plus, and then you go purple for 85 plus. All the ones I've done so far typically will get like one exactly 80 card, and then nothing higher than that. You saw, I forgot to snapshot that. So since I'm on audio, I'll say it to myself for my review later. It's 4,695 was the quick sell on that 15,000 coin cost pack. So I'm pointing out 80 because that's 62%, and as you see there, the 83 plus at 11%. Had none of those yet, and this is at least the 7th, if not more, of these that I've done. I'm not the type where I feel like I'm entitled to something. I understand how odds work, but as I said, you kind of like to be able to see those kind of things, and it's nice to get some luck. And I'm not complaining about luck after pulling what's, as far as the prime times and team of the weeks go, for overall at least, I managed to get. Kind of like the second highest overall that you can get that's out there right now, so can't really complain about that. Would kind of like at least one icebreaker if I could, though, please. And that's not. Oh, it is. Oh, okay. So it's not even a gold jersey, but it is. Wow. Yikes. Big yikes. 77, 74, 77, 77, and 79 Quick sell 4760. Apparently by myself again. All right, so I waited long enough. I had a feeling there might be that I might talk long enough to be able to do this. Waited long enough that I'll be able to do another silver reroll, and that would be that'd be some sort of sweet little positive karma there. I'm not really sure what I've been looking for this. Maybe one of the two MSPs for this week that I don't have yet. Since I'm technically able to pull the trigger at the moment, but I haven't. And then spending the 50K, which again I could get back from the Besser sale if I do that. And so far, 30K on the other two just kind of hurts the coins from being able to just go out and buy enough to get those MSP sets done. So instead, you can just give me an untradeable one, since those sets give you untradeable anyways. Again, preferably one of the two that I don't have, as opposed to what happened in the heavy hitters event with the Muzzin as a duplicate untradeable. So I got to wait for. I don't even have like a positive sort of potential outcome that could happen from that. I said at the time, that there could be some sort of set or something, or higher rated Muzzin that comes out later that you toss that into and are able to get that. But like, unless the set is trade in 2 or more of the 90 MSP Muzzins, or if it's I don't know, kind of how the legend upgrade cards worked last year. I don't know, or maybe like the first time you had to put in one of the 90s to get like I don't even know what that would be, like a 93 or 94, and then you got to put the 93 and the 94 plus another 90, which is kind of the same thing as what I just said, but slightly different. So then you got to put that into the second set to be able to get like the really good one, which would probably just be like an end of the year, team of the year / free agency, whatever, 99. Neither of which seems very likely. There could also be just a thing. None of this is happening, but there could be a thing where there are 2 different Muzzins, which could be as similar as like the Messier upgrade that only require 1 gold collectible and simply just boosts shot accuracy from 91 to 99 and nothing else besides the card art and the synergies. And then also like a different Muzzin that's a higher rated or just different card. I could potentially be weird enough to do both of those, particularly if they're not out at the same time. Like if one came out like, I don't know, next month, and then the other one didn't come for like another 3 or 4 months or whatever. I could, and assuming that whatever the first was the opposite of what I said the first 2 times. So in the third example, like where whatever the first upgrade was, you don't actually get to use that upgrade in the set that comes after that, which again would greatly piss me off and others if that was the case for Messier, Roenick, Yzerman, Chelios, yeah, I mean Gretzky, I already said that with Gretzky and Lemieux, and technically that was a 90 that got turned into a 91, but whatever. I don't think there's any others that are part of that group. But yeah, all the other ones that I just mentioned were all Silver Master icons that got different upgrades, and so if they get any sort of upgrade that's higher than that, you assume they'll be Gold Masters. That you can't use your upgraded version. You have to use the Silver Master. I know I'd be on that group of people. I'd be on that bus instantly of those that would be extremely pissed off about that. So I understand. I was just saying about how like if there were 2 different higher rated Muzzins that I would maybe do it just because I have them, but the reality is whatever the lower one would become completely pointless, since you can obviously only play with one version of a player's card at a time. Yeah. And we're not really doing there's sets and stuff like that, but there aren't really any like squad building challenges the way that there are in FIFA. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that next year, the year after here, since it's the same production house. Um, but having things like that would be one of the many ways in which you would um, potentially take something like that is more or less a useless um, uh, what was until this week highest tied with the highest overall rated card in the game, um, that you know is really just good for being able to put that one in as opposed to your other exact same version of the card to get 15 games out of it without having to use a contract card. It's really the at present that's the only benefit. The potential other benefit would be putting it into a gold reroll with 8 other 74 plus gold cards to get 2 gold cards that include one 80 plus in that reroll. Um, I wouldn't really advise that. You could technically also put them into one of the 50 to get an either icon or gold collectible, which seems completely absurd. On top of the fact that the heavy hitters event is the one that I'm talking about specifically, and that event is over and those sets are over. So you'd be taking a card that effectively cost 10 gold collectibles at that time to be one of 50 cards that you'd be putting into a set to get one gold collectible. So do you need me to do that math for you of how silly that is? Hopefully no one's doing that sort of thing. I don't really know how or why you would. You'd actually be kind of helping the market because things would get weird and potentially be easier for others to be able to buy stuff if you were doing stuff like that, I guess. But geez, yeah. So the gold collectible would represent 10% of both its current value as well as whatever its original value, and then if you want to go so far as to say future value as well on that particular card. So whatever that number is doesn't matter. It's 10% because you took 10 of them to get them. Now you're getting one gold collectible. So that's what that gold collectible would represent, 10%. And to get it, you're using that, in my case, that 90 MSP untradeable Muzzin, which is a duplicate of another untradeable. You'd be using that as one of 50. So you're talking about 1/50th, aka 2%, 2% of 10%. It's a very low number. I don't feel like telling you what it is. You can figure that one out for yourself. 9 is not the worst, but they're all the same. They're all just trade-ins. I feel like, especially with no one in here, I feel like we should call it quits here. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could rip one more of these. Just think about this here for a second. Yeah, it's not the worst. I'll do one more. Then we'll call it a night here. What the HE double hockey sticks? I mean, thanks for the 1,000 coins, and I think it's the first time I've seen the Finnish jersey, Finland's Finnish jersey. I like we're just refused to end that way. I feel like you as I said, I don't want to be entitled, but I feel like you have to give me an 80. Doesn't have to be 81 plus. Doesn't have to be an icebreaker at this point. It has to be an 80. Considering that you know, if odds work the way that everyone thinks that they do, which is not how they work, you should be getting one every 2 packs because it's 61% as a minimum probability. And so far in the ones that I've opened up here, which I think this is what, the 3rd or 4th one, I haven't gotten any of those yet. Feels like the 4th one. Appreciated the pause. I was about ready to just throw it all. So yeah, there goes your coins, all done. I mean, and like a lot of, as I said, a lot of the 84s and under, at least the 83s and under, are simply just trade-ins. So that's that's what this is. It's not even 20 20 gold cards, which would sound like a pretty good pack, even if they were literally all just 74s and something that I would I would certainly take for 20K. This one's only 15. But yeah, I'm gonna have to call it quits with this. Sorry that it's like kind of the worst here. At least we did get one that was above 80s. We got one that hit that 61% chancer. Sorry for anybody watching this stream and saw previous stuff where I was managing to rip those less than 1%ers. I will go ahead and I'll 5480. Did I snapshot the last one? I don't remember. It was 5480. So that's kind of been my experience on those most of those today. Outside of the few where I think there was one where I had like 3,000 coins cards worth over like 3 coins. I got like 1,500, 1,000, and 500. I think were the 3 that I got. And so that particular one, the quick sell, I think was listed as closer to like 7 something. So it was almost like getting half your coins back if you'd quick sold everything. Generally, it seems to be on average about a third, about 5K exactly. Plenty of them that were less than that at 4 something, usually above 4,500. And then like that one, a few that are above 5. That one being close to 5,500. I don't. I feel like I've seen some people do this in streams. I don't know. I mean, particularly if you're, and I guess those streams are usually not here on YouTube. They're over on Twitch. So I mean, if you got the Twitch / YouTube / whatever, especially when you got merch and other stuff, you got that monetization coming in. I can understand, I guess, just taking those coins and just putting them right back into packs and effectively gambling, but also doing it just for the entertainment value of the broadcast. But yeah, I mean, if I had done that for what I think is at least 8 of these that I've done so far, which again it would only be another 30K, quote unquote only another 30K to get to my 10, to see if I could finally crack that 83 plus mark. It does seem as though I had used up all my luck on the 88 Besser, and then any potential quote unquote profit on that pack alone, or even just tonight's opening of packs, are completely gone and wasted in the whatever that was 3 or I think it was 4 of the 15K packs that I'd opened. And also, we don't know the odds. It says 85 plus. I pointed this out. It says 85 plus is 32%, so technically 88 is in that range. So at best, we hit at worst, we hit a 32% outer, and I'd imagine it's considerably lower than that. I'm not sure if it'd be as low as, say, like 1.5 or even less than 1%. Here 86 plus is 1.5 and does suggest that in these packs 88 plus would be probably less than 1%. So that's all I was trying to say, is that anybody that had watched particularly the very, very early videos of this year and just kind of saw me pulling those less than 1%ers constantly, mostly the icons and gold collectibles, that it seemed like I might have been able to kind of keep that up all year. I didn't anticipate being able to do that. That is what it is. And if I wasn't getting these 2 packs, at least 1 each free per day, I'd be somewhat tempted to do that. I've not done the free choice pack yet. Yeah, I just kind of just like don't feel like doing another fruit punch, and it's what, so 8, yeah. I mean, the fact that one listed at 85 and one listed at 86, um, one's cheaper though, so it does kind of suggest that you should have at least slightly better odds on the 85 plus. Yeah, so do one more. I don't know why I'm doing this. Because now I have to get at least another 80, or I've ruined the whole thing of like ending on a good note. So an 81 and an 80, as well as a tradable 78 Kladno, Jaromir Jagr. That's the team that he's actually playing on. This is, his actual card, his base card, because the whole Jagr event's not really going on at the moment. And also, I sincerely doubt that you're able to pull the other ones where you get to kind of choose which team he's on. But I don't know that. One is, one was you choose the 78, the other one you choose an 80. So I have the 80, and I don't remember what team I chose for him, even though admittedly at my age, which is less than his, but if you're hearing this tomorrow, probably more than yours. He definitely was, mostly an iconic Penguin in kind of my days, my early days, but clearly obviously played for others as well. But I don't recall Kladno being a choice on the 10 different teams that he played for choice. And as a fellow Czech, I would have loved to have been able to choose to put him on the Czech Republic team. And I get it. I've talked previously about how I think it's pretty silly that people get all up in arms in terms of what kind of when giving a choice or things that come as far as whatever you want to call that, kind of like the what's the overall term for that, like the bonuses, benefits, whatever that you get from having bought the game, and no matter what version you get, no matter what time you get it or whatever. People getting like all up in arms about like being able to have a card that says a player's on a specific team. I'm not really sure. I'm just not on that level. Not about that life. I'm just not at that level. I don't really get it. Like as I just said, I mean, I would have definitely been able to prefer a Jagr that listed him as being on the Czech Republic national team, but part of that would be, with me having their jerseys and their logo, I can play as that team and have everyone on the team have that jersey, and so it would make it somewhat cooler, I guess. Like particularly if he's part of a scoring cutscene as either the goal scorer or one of the assists. That the card would flash up and you'd see Czech Republic where it says Kladno, and the logo would be the Czech flag in the background. So like that little 2-second snippet or whatever thing, I guess, would be kind of cool. But outside of that, like, what's the difference? Like I could literally take this exact card along with the rest of who I have on my team at the moment, and then switch everything over to the Czech jerseys and the Czech logo. And play as the Czech Republic, and then now I've got Jaromir Jagr playing on my team. The 78, I left hand, so he'd be like because he doesn't have enough endurance to play in the fourth line, so he'd be my third line right winger. At least in his natural position, I guess. But outside of that, I wouldn't really see any benefit to doing that. But I'd be able to at least say, like, I played with Jagr in a game in which I played as the Czech Republic, but why would I not just do that with the 80 overall untradeable one that I have, even though I don't think that that card is showing him on Cloud now. So yeah, the 80 little and the Niederreiter kind of counted as the 80 overall that I was saying was more or less required. I should have snapshot that. That was stupid. 6,300 out of a 20k coiner. Didn't get 82 plus on that one, which you're supposed to get half the time. All right, we'll do it again. We'll reiterate that we're not guaranteed to get an 82 plus here, just because it's listing it as above 50%, and this is the second one of these that I've done. I've opened a bunch of these before consecutively as we get an exactly 82. That should not be indicative of what you should expect. I would really hope that I wouldn't have to open up 2 more of these after this and not get an 82 from those 2 in order to prove this point. Also, for me at least, the rest of the pack wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. Quick sell should be, yep, basically almost exactly the same, 64, 65. So now that I've just wasted 150, only a third of that attributed to the lemon lime pack, which is the name of this stream. I feel like we're definitely gonna have to call it a night here now. And now I think I might have to go and sell that Besser to try to make up for this a little bit. These poor choices, and then also might be wanting the Deline to actually sell. I don't know. But I'm gonna kill this stream, check on things for a second. It is getting late, but I think now I'm a little bit too amped up. So since I'm probably gonna play at least one Rivals event anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and find a spot for Besser. Hopefully not messing up my synergies too much, and then drop into a Rivals game with him out there, and Rivals as opposed to the Hut Challenge that's out today that I have not done yet, which I guess I might start with that just to get my muscle memory going here a little bit. But he's, unless I just choose to put him there even though he doesn't deserve to be there, he's not gonna be my first line for sure. He's not really gonna be my second line. Over there on the left side, the Besser that I'm talking about here. But I'll put him out there, and then despite probably not seeing much of anything from him in the quick little Hut Challenge, I'll look to get into one Rivals game, at which point he should be able to find his way out onto the ice. And if you are completely confused and are like, well, don't you know what line you're gonna have him on? Why wouldn't you just choose his line and put him out there? Note when you play with Classic NHL 94 controls, as I do, as I think is an interesting challenge with considerably less control from those controls. One of the things that I think that myself and potentially anybody else that's using that, but not everybody, but some others that are using that, whether they're brand new to the game this week, and admittedly plenty of people within their first week are able to move on to the other controls. So whether they're brand new and that's why they're using it, or they've got other reasons or whatever, I doubt that I'd be the only one who's ever used it or is currently using it who feels like they'd mostly be capable of having at least some control over some things, such as making line changes, goalie pulls, that kind of stuff. But you can't, so you don't. So I'm gonna kill this broadcast here. It was supposed to be about the lemon limes, so I could go back to that as I end this up here to give that a little bit better chance of being my my automatic thumbnail, but instead let's look at the 15 15 Bessers. none under 120. And let's end with that. So peace out on this. I'm just going to go ahead and toss them onto the lineup and see other changes I might need to make to be able to do that. I'll do the one hut challenge, and then try to jump into a Rivals game. And I think that's going to probably do it for me totally for the night, and then hope to kind of wind down from there and get up in time to take care of my stuff IRL tomorrow. So peace out on this one. If you don't catch me in the gameplay live broadcast that I'll do right now. Peace.